Hi there everybody, my name is Ali and today we will be going to do MonitorsTwo from HackTheBox, and this one is a recently retired machine, and this one was a very easy machine because I have never seen an active machine because it is an easy level that too easy. But this one was fairly easy machine. So we're going to start off with the Cacti version. So the Cacti version is very low and we can directly get an exploit from the GitHub or Rapid 7 as well. I believe I will be going to show you both of the ways, and that is an easy initial foothold. And in the root part we are having the Docker container, and the Docker version is very low, so we can try to find out the exploits for Docker and we will get root access. So that being said, let's jump in. I already have started my machine and my IP address is 10.10.11.211. So I will start off with the nmap scan, nmap-a for aggressive scan, -v for verbosity, and then the IP address of the target, which is 10.10.11.211. So this can take some time to run, so I already have ran it. Looking at the results, we are having only port 22 and 80 open. So 22 is SSH, which is secure shell, open SSH 8.2p1, which is looking quite updated for me. If it was a lower version, I would definitely go over to the browser and search for the exploits for this one. Then we are having our operating system as well, and our operating system is Ubuntu. Then on port 80 we are having HTTP, and this time we are having Nginx server, which is 1.18.0, and it says HTTP title login to Cacti, and then we are having the header, which is again the same one and nothing really interesting. So I will directly jump out to the browser and I will visit this site and let's see what is over there. So looking at the login page, I'm having direct login page and it says enter your username and password. One thing which I can try over here is I can try default credentials like admin. It says access denied. I can do admin password. Then it says again access denied. This doesn't work, so I can try single quote, so might be there SQL injection. Now this is part of my methodology and you should be having this sort of methodology, otherwise it will be very hard for you to solve these sort of machines. If you're not following the methodology, extremely hard for you to solve the machine. So I can do or 1 is equal to 1 minus minus space minus and paste the same thing over here. It doesn't require in the password field, but still I like to do that one. Then if I do single quote, doesn't work, double quote, doesn't work, double quote round bracket, doesn't work, single quote round bracket, doesn't work. So all of the things are having me access denied, login failed. So this means I cannot get any sort of credentials to work. SQL injection, I can either try Hydra brute force onto this panel using admin in the username field, and password I can pass it out rocky.txt. I can try over to like the 1000 or 5000 Hydra attempts, not more than that if it is a CDF. So if it doesn't work, then I will move on. But right here, before going over to Hydra, what I can try to do over here is that I am having the version of the CMS as well. And whenever we are having version, I always try to go to Google as well because CMS's versions are extremely important. So I can try to go over here, search for, let's say, Cacti this version exploit, and right away I am having the first one from GitHub, which is saying Fred Brave CVE 2022-46169 Cacti 1.2.22. So I am having this one here as well. Or let me move back, open it in a new tab. And there is Rapid 7 as well. There is Exploit DB as well. So these all are interesting. So let's open these all. So first one, GitHub one. Now what we can do, again, we are trying to exploit any CMS. What we can try to do over here is we can try to run these sort of exploits blindly. So we never know that whether these might work or no. So this one is a Python script which he has written over here. So let's try to download this Python script. And I will copy the link. I will come to my terminal. I will wget, paste the link, hit enter. And I am having that script over here. If I open the script, let's see what this is doing. So first thing first, it is importing libraries, request library to make a request, URL lib library. Then I'm having arguments function, which means that I'm passing different arguments like I need to specify the URL with dash u, then I need to specify the localhost with dash dash localhost dash dash local port. So this is an argument function. Then it is checking for vulnerability, whether it is vulnerable or no, then brute forcing the ID. So it is based upon brute forcing different IDs. If it finds some sort of an ID, it will move on, then it will put a reverse shell over here. So this is the complete Python code which you need to understand, and this is where your reverse shell is. And right here bash dash c means that I'm executing a command on a bash, and what I'm executing, this is the reverse shell, and my IP and my port, whatever I will specify onto the terminal, it will come over here. So this will only happen if the target is vulnerable. So let's try to directly run this one and let's see what happens. Okay, so now when I have ran this one, it directly shows me the help menu, which means that there are no dependencies error or those sort of things. Otherwise I need to install all of the dependencies, but that is a good thing. So it says please indicate the target URL like this. So if I try to do the target URL, which is in my case is directly the website on port 80, so this one, and I believe I need to specify the local host and port. It is not showing me in the help menu. So let's try to see. Yes, I need to specify minus minus localhost and minus minus local port as well. Yeah, exactly. So he is having a check over here, but he's not. So if I try to hit enter, let's see what happens. Yes, he is saying that, hey, put your local host, but he is not showing us in the help menu. That is strange, but that is fine. So if I try to do minus minus localhost is equal to 10, 10, 14, 14, and again in the same way local port 443. So what I will do is I will try to open a new terminal and I will do netcat dash nvlp on 443 just to see if I get a reverse shell or no. So if I hit enter now, it's checking whether it is vulnerable. Let's see. And I got an error. It's saying that no route to host. So let's see what is this error message. Normally I think so if I need to specify the URL without HTTP, let's try to see. So it says the URL of the target and I need to specify http:// and this thing. So why it is showing me that no route to the host, fail to establish a new connection. So URL looks fine for me, 10.10.11.221. Let me confirm. 10.10.11.2.11. Oh, I just misspelled it. It's not 221, it's 2.11. So this is how normally error message cause a lot of problems. So make sure you always try to read the error messages. Now it, and there you go, I got a reverse shell. So it was checking whether the target is vulnerable. It says yes, the target is vulnerable. Then it says brute forcing the host ID and local data IDs, brute force success, and our shell executed, and I am onto the box. So this was one way of solving this machine. So the other way what we can try to do is looking at the other exploits like this Metasploit. Again, Metasploit is having this module as well, Cacti 1.2.22, an authenticated command injection, and it has the module as well. So what I can try to do over here is that let's keep it running in the background and let's start my MSF console. So for those of you who want to learn Metasploit as well, they should know how to use Metasploit to actually exploit the same thing which we have done manually. Okay, so now my Metasploit is started now, and now the easy way to find exploits which I like to find is either I can try to come over here and I can copy this complete line over here, or I can simply search here for Cacti, that's all. And whatever the exploits will be for Cacti, I can see it onto my screen right over here. So the first one is exploit Linux HTTP Cacti unauthenticated command injection. So I want the first one. I'll simply say that, hey, I want to use 0, and that module has been loaded successfully. So if I see the options, which options do I need to set? First thing first, localhost is here. I need to set that one, and I need to specify the R port as well, because in my case it is 80, and then I need to specify the R host as well, which is 10.10.11.211. So let's try. So set R host to 10.10.11.211. Set my local host to, I can see on my top. If you are not seeing on top because you are might be having genome, so you can try to do ifconfig onto another terminal, but the good thing about this one is that I can see my local host onto the top. Then I'm having set my R port as well to 80 because in my case Cacti is running on port 80, and I think so that's all. So let's try to run this module. And yeah, the target appears to be vulnerable. The target version is 1.2.2, and hopefully I should get a reverse shell over here as well. So let's see. And right away it shows exploit completed, but no session was created. Command stage process 100% done. Found exploitable local data ID 6 for host ID 1. It's doing the same thing. It has found vulnerable. Let's try one more time. Sometimes it happens that you are running an exploit on Metasploit. First time it doesn't work, but second time it does work. And again I am having exploit completed, but no session was created. So if I do options one more time to see, let's see what is going wrong over here. So the payload is Linux x86 meterpreter reverse TCP. Shall I try to change the payload? That might work. So if I do show payloads, there are almost 54 payloads for this actually module. So if I try to do shell reverse TCP, let's see what this does. So if I do set my payload to this thing, enter, run again. Again, the same thing. So this one is a shell reverse TCP, and this is a staged payload x64, but still I am having the same problem. So let's try to change the payload to the default one which he was using before, and then to fix this up I will see what is going wrong. So I can use the burp suite for that purpose. So if I come back to my burp suite, I can, my proxy settings is set to localhost 8080. So what I can do is I can intercept the request right over here. So how that will be done is that if I do options one more time, I think so there's an option of setting a proxy right over here, a proxy chain. And in the format we need to specify here is type colon host colon port. So it will be http colon host colon port. So let's try this. So set proxies to http colon localhost colon 8080, which is my burp suite. And now if I come over here and run the module, run, enter, and it says an error, and the error is saying set reverse allow proxy to true. So let me just blindly run this command, and let's run again. Let's come back, and there you go. The requests are coming over here. Let's see what it was going wrong. So all of the requests has been captured, and there you go. I think so there was something wrong with the, or I don't know. I think so trying on the third or fourth attempt actually did work, and I got a shell back. But still, let me explain you what was going on. So the first thing first, this one was the first request. The endpoint which is getting called is remote agent.php. Action is this one, and these all. Then this is the second request. Again, it is brute forcing the ID and polar ID sort of thing. Again. And right here, the pattern which matched was host ID is equal to 1 and polar ID. Oh, sorry. This data ID is local data ID is 6. And finally, what he did was against this one in the polar ID, he added his base64 encoded reverse shell, and actually we got a reverse shell. So that's how it is going on. And in this case, actually, when I proxied my request to burp suite, it actually did work. So debugging actually helped me out, and I am www-data. So this was how you can solve the machine in burp suite, oh sorry, Metasploit. And this is how you do manually. Again, you can go even more in depth and do all this thing manually, because if there was no Python script, you need to do everything manually. So you can do that thing as well. So now I will be shifting towards the manual exploit, and let's come to the manual thing right over here. So I am now www-data. So I will be going to start my privilege escalation. I will see whether I can grab the flag, and then again let's start off with the methodology. So looking right away to the machine, I can see that it is having www data at a very random host name, which is alphanumeric, right? So what this means is that this can be a Docker container, because normally Docker containers are having this sort of a host name. So if I type in who am I am www data. Right now I am in var www html, but the first thing which I will do is I will go into the slash ls-la, and there is the docker env file which confirms that okay, this is a Docker container. Now these sort of Docker containers are very painful because normally these are not having anything installed. So if I, let's say, do ifconfig, it says ifconfig is not installed, and that is a pain. So if I can try to do ping is not installed. If I do ip, that is not installed. So normally most of the softwares are not installed, and that is the main problem. So that's why whenever I am into a Docker container, the thing which I will always do is I will enumerate every directory, every folder, every file. That's what I normally do in Docker container. So let's try to do that. So ls-la in the slash directory, I can see entrypoint.sh. Let's try to read this. What is this? Because it looks strange to me. And right over here I can see that it is some sort of a script which is connecting to the MySQL database. I can see the username and password. So username is root and the password is root here as well. So that is nice. That was right in front of me, and normally in Docker container I can see this one, and it is also putting the same thing in var www.html cacti.sql, and then it is trying to change the owner of var www.html to www data. So might be some sort of a script to actually run the cacti on the site. So what I can try to do is I can try to, if I have the database credentials, if I do netstat, will this work? No. So let's try to connect to the DB then again if I can. So the user will be root dash p for password, enter. It says enter your password. I will do root, enter, and cannot connect to the local MySQL server. So this is again a problem. So I think so the database is cacti. So if I try to do MySQL dash u root and dash p for password, and if I say that database is cacti, if this will work, dash d option is not over here. So now whenever I'm stuck in this sort of situation, what I will go do is I will go to the website, and there's a latest website which I love about is called Exploit Notes. So Exploit Notes is the website which is actually having all of the commands which I can use. It's just like hack tricks, payload, all the things and those sort of situation. So what I can try over here is I can try to search here for MySQL. It will say MySQL pen testing, and now I will see what I can do. So enumeration, brute force, and locally. Okay, so I am doing the correct thing with password. I am doing the same thing, but this is not working in my case. So I need to do the database name after dash p. Let's try to do this thing. So if I do MySQL dash u root dash p and then the database name cacti, password of root, cannot connect to the local server. So that is a problem for me. So that's fine. Let's try to enumerate then var www.html. Let's see what is over here. ls-la, and all of the files for cacti are over here. So the one which I will be normally interesting in is because whenever you set up these sort of situations, like when, for example, if you are talking about DVWA, damn vulnerable web application, you need to specify the configuration file. So I always look for that configuration file. Normally it is present in the include folder, I believe. Let me see whether we are having any include. Yeah, right here we do have an include folder. So if I cd into include ls-la, oh, there is config.php. That's what I was talking about. So let's try to read this file, cat config.php. And in the config.php, if I scroll up, oh, here we have some credentials. The Database type is MySQL. The database is default Cacti. Database host name is DB. I think so I was doing the wrong host name, might be. So I will now do -h for host. And then root is the username, root is the password, port is this one. Again, MySQL Cacti, localhost is right over here as well. So I can try to do this thing. So if I try to do something sort of, let's say MySQL -u or -h for db -u for root -p for password, enter, root, enter, and let's see. Still it is taking a lot of time. So what I can do is I can press Ctrl C, and Ctrl C actually died my shell as well. So let's try to get a reverse shell again. So I will try to run python that script -u 10.10.11.211 -p for port. And the one thing that might be causing problems for me, that I actually forgot to stabilize my shell. That's the main mistake which I am assuming that I was having over here. That's why when I press Ctrl C, my shell died. So now I understand that, okay, what is the wrong problem here over. So localhost is equal to 10 10 14 14. My local port is 443, enter, got a shell now. So let me stabilize this quickly. So I will do python -c, but I think so python is not installed. Yes, so if I do python 3, no, so I cannot stabilize my shell as well. That is not good. But let's try one more time. So if I do MySQL -h for host, db -u for user, root, and I will specify the password right away. So password of root, and I will specify the database as well, cacti. This might work. Let's see. So right now in my case it's again not working, so I think so that might be a rabbit hole which I am falling into. So the next thing what I can do is I will Control C over here, and I will try to get a reverse shell again, and now I will try to escalate my privileges onto the root. That might work because I'm using the user root as the username and the password, so that I might not have permissions to do so. So again I can try to do sudo -l to escalate my privileges. Again I'm following my methodology, uname-a, uname-r, and it is quite updated one as well, finding the SUID binary. So that is, I think so, 4000, and pipe it out to dev null, hit enter now, and right here I cannot find any SUID binary as well, which might be interesting. So, or I think so capsh might be interesting if I need to go to GTFO bins, or I can try to also run linpiece over here. Then I will try to run that one pspy here as well, but it shows me capsh is having SUID. So if I try to click on that one, let's see, what do I need to do? I need to specify just these arguments and I will become root. Let's see if I try to do this thing, hit enter. I think so I need to remove the dot slash. So let me try to do it quickly into my notes. So that should be something sort of the full path. So the full path is sbin. So something sort of this. Let's try to run this again. Paste, enter. And if I type in who am I? Oh, I am root. So okay, that's fine. I am root onto the Docker container still. If I do cd/ls-la, still I'm into a Docker container. So the other thing which I can do is, now what if I try to do MySQL dash host is db dash user is root dash password of root, and I want to connect to cacti, hit enter. Let's see if this works or no. And I can say that still it is causing problem for me. So I need to somehow figure this out. So let's press Ctrl C again. My shell is also unstable. So let's try to analyze much more. So if I do ls-ln html, let's see, there was some SQL files over here as well. So the cacti.sql. So if I cat cacti.sql, oh, there are a lot of things right over here. Inserting some different hashes right over here. That is not interesting. Again, let's analyze this whole SQL file. Again, there is an admin insert. I have the hash of the admin right over here. Let's see what sort of other hashes I am having. So again, some hashes right over here. These are different random hashes. Again, not interesting. So this is a complete SQL file, but I think so nothing is interesting right over here. I can try to do grep over here to try to find out some different hashes. Like some hashes might start with $2, some start with simple dollar. So that can be an easy win for me. Otherwise, that can be a difficult. So if I try to cacti.sql, grep that out to, let's say, $2. No. So if I think so I need to do grep in single quotes $2 and not working at all. So let's see what we can do right over here. So what I can try to do is cacti.sql, pipe it out to grep admin. I can see an admin entry. This is the hash. So it is inserting the user values into user auth. So might be the table name. So if I become root, let's try to directly try to dump something from the user auth. That might help. So what I can do is I can, again, let's try to become root user. So the command to become root user is this one. This is all happening because my shell is very unstable. So I am root now. If I type in who am I am root. So what I can do is I can say that MySQL, and this time I will do the complete command as well. So the host dash db, or let's try to do the same thing, that is fine, dash h for host db, the user is dash u for root, the password of root, I believe, then the database is cacti, and I need to execute this sort of thing. So I will say select, I don't know will this work or no. So select static from this table name user auth and close the double quotation. If I hit enter, oh, I do got something. So definitely I think so my command did work. Due to the shell was not stable, I was unable to get into my SQL. So there is a framework called Poundcat that could help me in this case. I should have used that one, that is Poundcat. This one, a very great reverse shell framework, which when we get a reverse shell on Poundcat is just like Netcat, but I will get a full interactive table shell right away. So I should have used this one, but hopefully I will show you that one as well in the future videos. But now I can see admin his hash, guest his hash, and Marcus and his hash. So this one is looking interesting. So I can try this one, paste it into my notes. So let's try to crack this hash. So just to crack this hash, what I can do right over here is I can do make a file called hash, paste that hash into that one, and I can pass it out to John. So I will say John hash, and then I will say that the word list which I want to use is user share word list. rock.txt and hit enter. So let's see whether we can crack this hash. Otherwise, I will try to see some other stuff. Okay, so in my case right now, it is taking a lot of time. I don't know why John the Ripper is taking a lot of time. So what I will be going to do now is I will be going to change the word list a little bit, and I will modify the word list. I will create a custom word list which will be smaller so that my time should be saved. But for you, user share word list rock.txt should give you the actual password, right? So I will going to just pause the video right here for 1 minute and then I will come back. Okay, so right now I am having a custom word list and I am having the word list into my current working directory. So I can show you right over here. This is the word list, and what I'm going to do, because this is shorter, so I will just do the same thing. Just instead of user share rock.txt, I'm just doing this thing, and right here it had actually cracked that one. So I will try to go into the John file and I will try to remove that pod file. So normally when John cracks the password, it actually saves it into the pod file. So once again you run that one, the same command, it will tell that, hey, I have already cracked it. So you can just see it again. So now I have removed the pod file. So now when I will do the same command, it will try to crack that again, and there you go, we got the password, which is funky monkey. So now this password, what we can try to do is we can try to ssh as Marcus user onto the box. So what I will do is I will do ssh Marcus at 10.10.11.211. Yes, and I will paste the password. Let me copy this password, paste this password, and there you go, I am onto the box now. So what I can do right over here is I can do ls, and there we have the flag. So this means we have done half of the machine. So now starting off with the privilege escalation, let's try to do again all of the things. So if I try to do sudo -l, which is my methodology, it asks me for the password. It says I cannot run that one. Looking at the SUID binaries, permissions of 4000, and piping it out to dev null. Permission denied. So I click null at the end, and right over here I can see all of these are by default. Nothing is looking interesting to me. That is fine. I can go into opt folder, because I always look into the opt folder, and there is something containered. ls-la is not allowed. That is fine. So opt is not interesting. Let's see what else we have. So cd into the temp. Let's see, sometimes temp might be interesting. Nothing. If I go into home directory, there is only one user, Marcus. Cd into Marcus, ls-la. Sometimes this can be interesting, but nothing interesting right over here. So can I cd into root? No. Permission denied. Cat etc password. This one is not a Docker container. I can confirm, because if I first thing first, if I do cd ls-la, there is no Docker env file, but I think so normally this is looking as a Docker container, which is a strange one. So if I try to see, do I have a Docker version? Oh, we do have a Docker version right over here installed. So I can try to look at the exploits for this one, whether might be any exploit which can elevate me to the root. So if I do exploit, and right away I can see that on 20th May 2023, which is just quite recently, I am having an exploit for this one, CVE-2021. So let's see what this exploit is doing. So we just need to run it, but let's see what it does. So the overlay file system is critical component in exploiting. Okay, so it says the Docker's overlay file system enables the containers file system to be layered on the top of the host file system. This means that onto my host right over here, somewhere there will be the Docker file system as well. I need to find that out. Allowing the host system to access and manipulate the files. In case you have CVE, this one, the only directory permissions in var lib docker overlay to enable unprivileged users to access and execute programs within containers, leading to potential privilege escalation attack. So let me explain you in simple words. So it is saying that, hey, if you can go into this directory, so cd into this, if it exists, oh, it does exist, then it says that you will be having here some docker containers, and you will be having the complete access to the file system of those containers, right? So then it says that if you can access those containers, what you can do is you can try to make an SUID binary over there, and you can run it from to your host system, and that will be executed on your host system. And once it is executed onto your host system, you will become root onto your host system. So let me show you how this is done. Now I don't know whether I will do this manually or automatically, but he has given me the exploit. So let's try to download this exploit and run that directly onto the target machine. So what I will do is I will simply download this exploit. So copy the link, come to my Linux machine, Kali Linux, wget, paste, ls, there is exp.sh. If I start my Python server, python-m http.server on port 80, and I will transfer this over to my this Linux machine, which is target. So cd into temp, and I will do wget http // my localhost 1414, and I will paste this thing right over here, hit enter, and it does work. So let's change this to executable. So change mode, I can do bash as well in the beginning, but let's do change mode exp.sh, and let's run it right away, and let's see what this does. So it says vulnerable to CVE. Now connect to your Docker container that is accessible and obtain root access. Oh, I need to have a root access on Docker container. It says after gaining root access, execute this command, this over here. Then it says, did you correctly set the SUID bit on bin bash in the Docker container? Yes or no? So I think so. I need to do that into my Docker container, which is right over here. So if I type in who am I am still root onto the Docker container. So what I can do right over here is change mode, or let me copy paste just to make things easy and fast. So paste, enter, done. So if I do ls-la on bin bash, I am having an SUID bit set on bin bash. So now you might be understanding that what is going behind the scenes. So Docker container is actually existing into this path, so which is var lib docker overlay 2, right? And I have set up bin bash SUID. So now what I will do is when I will run bin bash -p with the full path of the Docker container onto this host system, I will become root on MonitorsTwo. So that's the whole idea, I believe. So if I do yes, enter, and there you go. So it says available overlay to file system, then it is showing all of the file systems and it interacting with all these, and could not get root access in this one, but checking path, current vulnerable path is this. So that's what I was telling you. So now if I first of all manually go into this path, so cd into this path, there you go. You can see I am having now, I am into this Docker container file system. If I do ls, there you go. The complete file system of the Docker I can access over here. Now the SUID bit is set onto bin bash right over here. So simply what I need to do is I need to simply come over here, cd into, or I can directly execute it. So let me just make it short so you can read it. I'm into the merge folder. In the merge folder there is the complete file structure, so I can simply do bin bash -p, enter, and let's see what happens. If I type in who am I, doesn't work right now because let's cd into bin ls, there should be bash, and bash is having SUID. So if I do /bash -p, enter, and there you go, I am root onto the host machine. So this was actually this exploit. It was an easy one, not too difficult to understand, but this is how it works on. So actually this was all about the box. Actually I was stuck into a lot of places right here, I don't know why, but that's part of solving the machine. If I can do cd into root cat root.txt, and this is the root flag. So this was all about this video. I hope you will learn a lot from this video, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.